We jump right into the big news coming out of today. We got a lot of WrestleMania news, or some WrestleMania news, as Stone Cold Steve Austin will be talked about later on tonight, or later on in this video. I just wanted to drop the little nugget, or the little tease before we jump into it. I also want to say that this weekend is NXT Vengeance Day, where we found out last night on NXT that Chase University, Andre Chase and Duke Hudson, will be joining in the tag team title match to make it a four corners match, or as the guys at Cultaholic said, it could also be a gauntlet match where two teams start and then you go you go through it like Pretty Deadly did when they fought for the number one contendership opportunity initially. But that's also, in that match is when we saw the return of Gallus. But Gallus will be one of three challengers against the New Day, with Pretty Deadly, Gallus, and now Chase University fighting the New Day in a four-way for the tag team titles at NXT Vengeance Day this Saturday night. So, I mean, is there, in my opinion, a possibility that the New Day lose the NXT Tag Team titles? If there was ever a possibility, I would say it happens tonight, or it happens on Saturday. But we will address that on Saturday when I go through the previews of NXT Vengeance Day ahead of the next TakeOver event, and to my knowledge, the last TakeOver before WrestleMania. But I guess we'll find that out this Saturday. But as far as WrestleMania, we'll get to this minor news first, as this is more news that we knew about already, but we get a little bit more information on. As Dwayne Johnson, it is pretty much official now that The Rock will not be competing at WrestleMania. But The Rock did not write off the possibility about competing at next year's WrestleMania. As, you know, I guess this might be something we hear. I really don't know. I guess maybe this is something we hear for the foreseeable future, that, you know, every year maybe we hear about the possibility of John Cena, The Rock, and Steve Austin competing at WrestleMania. You know, I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. But all I know is that The Rock is not competing at WrestleMania this year, and did not write off the possibility of competing at WrestleMania next year, which I think I will speak for a lot of people that were in my perspective, that I think next year may be the better year for WWE to do Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Yes, the bloodline might not be as strong next year as it is this year, but somebody also wrote out left a comment on the news video from Cultaholic saying that with Jay being in the position that he's in, being the outlier of the bloodline, could it be that Jay looks to The Rock to take down Roman Reigns a peg, and maybe we see a big match set for SummerSlam with Jey Uso teaming up with The Rock against Roman Reigns and maybe Solo Sikoa, where Jimmy is the outlier of the group because he doesn't want to go against his brother, but also is unsure about going against the family. So I think even with Sami Zayn being the talk of the town going into WrestleMania, it could lead to Jimmy and Jay dropping the belts because of Jay being unsure of whose side Jimmy's on, and also just being unsure of whose side he's on because he's tired of being under Roman Reigns. So I think, in my opinion, if WWE wants to play it that way, the Bloodline storyline is far, far from over and could be built up to WrestleMania next year. You know, and could keep going until WrestleMania next year. All I gotta say is, Rob Fee, if you're watching, get on that, my friend. Get on that. because it is something that could be built up for 2 years. And I think with what we saw back during the pandemic with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, it is something that, it is something worth acknowledging, no pun intended, and maybe circling back to, especially considering the fact that Roman will not be undefeated at that point, because it is very likely, in my opinion, that WrestleMania, well, not very likely, it is 100% that at WrestleMania, Roman Reigns will lose the Undisputed Universal Championship to Cody Rhodes, because I can't see the company going any other way. Speaking of WrestleMania, though, I think this is something that needs to be this is something that is worth noting. That Ric Flair, a lot of things that Ric Flair has said over the last couple of years, or even the last couple of months, has been questionable, has left people wondering if Flair is okay, and just maybe lost touch. But I think him saying that Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte needs to be the WrestleMania main event this year. I think if WWE goes the route of playing off their history from a couple of years ago, when Charlotte went down to NXT to challenge Rhea Ripley for her NXT championship and beat Rhea for the NXT title, I think that WWE could play up that and lean on that, and that could be what brings WWE to the idea of Charlotte versus Rhea in the WrestleMania main event. I do think that giving the women's championship, like the Raw, I do think that giving the Undisputed title one main event and giving the women's championship, or one of the women's titles, the other main event, is fitting. But I think that, in my opinion, the only way Ripley versus Charlotte deserves to be the main event at one of the WrestleManias is if Ripley wins. Because if Charlotte wins, it would be kind of pointless to give them the main event, in my opinion. Now, more quick-fire news. It is Nikita Lyons had a successful surgery to repair her damaged knee. I believe it was... I'm not even going to assume. I just know it was a knee injury. She had a successful surgery recently, so nothing but the best for Nikita Lyons, and I hope for a speedy recovery, as she has a she had a lot of potential and is somebody that I could see them giving the spotlight to at some point, because there are people above her in the pecking order when it comes to the NXT Women's Division. And basically, I think that, I think that she has a lot of potential and maybe could be somebody that the NXT Women's Division gets built around in the coming years, as she is only 23. So nothing but the best to her. And I think, actually, we may be doing another news video, because I'm looking at it and I'm seeing that we have enough to get to. So I'm going to leave it here and cut it off, leaving that Austin tease from earlier to be a little bit more of a tease, because of the fact that we got another video. I didn't know about it. You guys didn't know about it, but I'll see you in the next video.